All right, welcome to the Hoosier Huddle podcast. I'm Sammy Jacobs. Along with me is T.J. Inman. No intro video today as we are talking about basketball. Indiana basketball goes 2-0 on the week to start the season. A home win, which was expected over Alabama A&M, where they got so close to 100 points in a 98-51 win. If you bet the over, you sweat that one out after multiple missed layups with under 3 minutes to go. And then the big one on the first test of the season with Marquette in Chicago on Sunday afternoon, a 100-77 win. I don't think anybody was expecting that kind of score and that kind of game against Marquette. It was a closer spread, closer line in Vegas. I thought IU had a good shot at beating Marquette, but nobody thought a 23-point victory in the first time ever that an offense put 100 on a Shaka Smart defense. So welcome in TJ Inman. TJ, this week of Indiana basketball, put it on top of the Omar Cooper toe tap win in Penn State. Indiana fans have to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it's hard to think of a weekend in recent IU athletics that's had, the success of football and then a big basketball win back to back in the same weekend. That hasn't happened for a while. So really good weekend for Indiana athletics. We'll do our football show here probably tomorrow. Certainly plenty to unpack from that Penn State game, but a successful start to the Darian DeVries era for Indiana basketball.
Absolutely a soaring success. There are a lot of questions coming in, especially with injuries. Nick Dorn, who we wanted to see play, didn't play. It sounds like he's really close, and that they're just keeping him out. Obviously, they didn't need him the first two games, and then the next three games coming up are all bye games where if he's not 100%, you can wait till, November 25th against Kansas State for him to make his debut. But, I think a lot of questions were answered on to how this team will look. We knew they would shoot a lot of three-pointers. They've shot 52 over the first two games at a 46% clip, which is outstanding. I think maybe even better, and which also has the fans fired up, 36 of 40 from the free throw line, including some big clutch ones when they needed them. That was fantastic to see. Yesterday, against a really aggressive defense, they didn't turn the ball over. What was it, 27 assists on 33 baskets against Marquette. What did you see that you really like about this team? Because it is fun to watch. The vibe at Assembly Hall in the opener was kind of wait and see, but cheer them on and have fun with it. So, and then I listened to the game on the radio yesterday. Outside of Don and Eric yelling at the referees, it sounded like it was a pretty fired up IU crowd at the United Center.
It was. I think multiple things stand out. Number one, just some desire and passion being shown from the players and the coaches, the coaching staff being really into it, not in a over-the-top, going crazy, with fake enthusiasm way, which we've seen some of that before as well.
Speaking of fake enthusiasm, Tom Crean was on the broadcast for ESPN for the game, right?
Yeah, that kind of brought it to my mind for sure, as one of the culprits there. But the kind of just a stark contrast to the previous regime, when emotion was called for, it was there. It looked like, and has looked like so far, and this goes back to the Baylor exhibition as well, and the Puerto Rico exhibitions, this team appears to enjoy playing together. And they appear to enjoy playing for their coach. They appear to like playing basketball, which sounds elementary. But there are a whole lot of times in recent years when it looked like the guys out there would rather be just about anywhere else.
At Upstairs Pub.
Sure. I mean, and fans pick up on that, right? If you don't look like you're out there giving a damn, it becomes pretty easy to get disenchanted when the results aren't there.
Yep.
And what we saw in the first two games was, one, a completely different style of basketball, much more aesthetically pleasing, and I think a general passion and desire from the coaching staff and the players to get this right. So I think that was positive. Switching to the specifics, you mentioned the three-point shooting. Yes, they're shooting it well, but also they are getting themselves really good looks through the flow of the offense and just through really good individual shot making. To touch quickly on the Alabama A&M game, we talked about in the preview podcast, we talked about, hey, it's important to avoid losing this game, but we'd like to see IU actually really take care of business and meet expectations in these bye games. They played once so far, so who knows how the rest will go, but they did just that against Alabama A&M, got out to an early lead, buried that game. The outcome was not in doubt after probably the second media timeout in that game.
No, the only thing in doubt was if you bet the over, and that was in doubt until the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was 98-51, largest margin of victory in a first game for an Indiana basketball head coach in over 100 years, I think. So whatever the specifics were exactly on that, they did exactly what you want to see them do against an overmatched opponent. They didn't screw around, got ahead big, put their foot down, made sure there was no doubt, and got walk-ons in for the final 8 minutes of that game. Great. The style of play was also what you want to see. They hunted three-pointers. They shared the ball. They showed effort on defense, although, as we'll talk about, there were some potential concerns on the defensive end. You fast forward to game number 2, and it was, as you said accurately, okay, that looked good. Let's see what we can do against a caliber of athlete that's very close to what we're going to see in the Big Ten, right? And I think that for the first probably 8 minutes, maybe 12, I think that Indiana, with the pressure from Marquette, never bothered them, and that was great to see. But I do think that Indiana lacked a little bit of flow, and that was in large part due to constant foul calls. It was hard for either team to get into rhythm. The key for me in that game, Indiana was up by 4 with 7 minutes and 36 seconds left in the first half. It had been a little bit of a back and forth affair so far. Neither team had created much separation. Indiana up by 4. Tatum Connerway gets called for his third foul. So he's out for the remainder of that half. Reed Bailey had barely played with 2 fouls. And Marquette had the rest of the half where they were in the double bonus. From that time, Indiana goes from up 4 to up 18 at halftime. So plus 14 over the final 7 minutes and 36 seconds. And it was largely because Tucker DeVries was the best player on the court in that first half. It wasn't close. He was fantastic. 24 points in the first half. and he got it in such an entertaining way. Getting 3-pointers off the catch, coming off the screens, firing on the move. He had a couple where he just kind of took his man into the post with sort of a low, like slow drive that he, a shot fake that the defender falls for it. He gets an and one off of that. A variety of ways that he scored those 24 points. He carried the team in the first half. Second turning point, Marquette cuts it to 10 in the second half. Indiana looked a little rattled. Darian DeVries calls a timeout. Out of the timeout, gets a 3-pointer for Tucker, increases that lead to 13. Sam Alexis catches a lob from Lamar Wilkerson to get it to 15. Wilkerson hits 3 3-pointers in the span of a couple of minutes, and the lead is right back up. I think it was at 21 at that point, and Marquette never got closer than 15 after that. So
yeah, that was
great to shut down any concern that, oh no, here we go, we're going to fall apart here, and Marquette's feeling the momentum. You call a timeout, get a play for your best player up to that point, and then after that, Lamar Wilkerson shows this is not just a one-man show. He fills in as well, and Indiana never looks back. So
yeah, that to me was the
really
most important part of the game, and probably what could define the season is Indiana has that second guy who could score.
Yeah.
We didn't see those long, and look, the season's only 2 games old. There could be those droughts where you go 8 minutes, 9 minutes without a basket. But when Tucker gets his third or fourth foul early in the second half, fourth foul early in the second half, I think, because I was listening on the radio, so I didn't have the
all
clock
kind
in
of
front of me.
right in a row.
But
sorta.
yeah, it seemed like it all happened in a span of 5 real-time minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not 5 game minutes. It was probably like 2 game minutes. But to have you go, here's a guy who's on fire. Where does IU get its offense now? And then all of a sudden, Lamar Wilkerson comes in, and kind of has the half that Tucker had in the first half. They both finished they both hit 6 3-pointers. Was that what it is? So they had 12 3-pointers between the two of them.
Yes, 6 for 9 for Tucker and 6 for 10 for Lamar. So they combined for 12 for 19 from 3 as a team. Indiana 14 for 28. They got 1 from Connor, of course, the half-court variety at the end of the half. And then the second one was from Trent Sisley. He went 1 for 4. So, those guys really, those two were certainly the main catalyst for IU's offense. Yeah.
But how many times have we seen in the past 5 years where, Trace goes out or whoever was the leading score, like it goes out and Indiana scores like 4 points in a 12-minute span, or scores 2 baskets, 2 field goals, and has some free throws. And Wilkerson just didn't just hang up threes. He had 2 of those nice lob passes inside to Sam Alexis.
Mm-hmm.
Alexis had some good offensive rebound, foul shoot, getting to the line, and those things. So if Indiana's going to shoot 14 for 28 from 3-point range in a game, they're going to beat a lot of people. That's the big equalizer. Will they shoot 14 to 28 every game? I doubt it. There will be some nights where those shots just don't go in.
Yeah, 42 points from 3, 20 points from the free throw line. So, math major here, 62 points from the free throw line and the 3-point line combined. That's going to win you a whole lot of basketball games, particularly if you take care of the ball the way that IU did. Only 8 turnovers with 27 assists. That's a ridiculously efficient offense that IU
against a defense that is very aggressive in forcing turnovers and getting you sped up and things like that. So,
Marquette never under Shaka Smart. Well, Shaka Smart teams in general had not allowed 100 points in a game in his career. Until yesterday. So, what's Marquette going to end up being? Don't know. Time will tell on that. But you want this win to stay in the top 50. That's what you want this win to do, is stay in the top 50. It's a neutral court game. That means top 50 gets you that quad one win. Marquette will be in a tough league, the Big East. It's not great, but it's pretty tough. It's balanced. They will, you would think, given the history of that program, they have been in the top 50 every year that Shaka Smart has been there at the end of the season. So you feel good about this being a very likely quad one win. Alabama A&M, that's probably a quad four at home. Almost certainly that'll be the case. But this was one, as we talked about, given the games against Louisville and Kentucky, you're looking at those as likely losses. Now, hey, again, you shoot like you did yesterday and take care of the ball like you did against Marquette.
A lot of people.
You can win against Louisville in Indianapolis. You can do that. You hit 14 threes on the road in Rupp Arena, that'll be a game too. But you've taken a bit of pressure off, right? Getting this Marquette game, if you can do the same against Kansas State on your home court, coming up here in a couple weeks, plus you take care of the bye games, if you can do that, then you have kind of met that threshold in the non-conference. And this was the one that felt like a true toss-up in that slate, and Indiana left no doubt.
Yeah, that because we talked about in the preview, out of those four games, you probably need to split them at worst. And this was the game that could turn it from 1-3 to 2-2, or even 3-1 to 4-0. So a really nice win. It is only November. And it's only November 10th. So a long way to go for basketball season until the postseason. But you've set yourself up to get off to a good start. And I think that's where, look, nobody's going to write home about a blowout win over Alabama A&M. But the previous coaching staffs did not get off to the best starts. Archie lost to Indiana State, got blown out by Indiana State at home. I don't know what Mike Woodson did, but I'm sure. I mean, even the start of his tenure, just by being hired, wasn't good. So just to come out, play, look like you said, like you enjoy playing basketball, that you want to play basketball, but look like a functional basketball team, just like we said under Kirk's, it just looked like a functional football team for the first time in a while. They played good, solid, fundamental basketball, a fun brand of basketball. And, the expectations aren't national title or bust. And they should never be national title or bust with a 68-team tournament that could go any which way on any given night. But it's just, you started the way you wanted to start. A nice home win in front of a crowd that was curious and wanted to cheer. You gave them something to cheer about. I think the biggest cheer was when they showed they went, 19 for 19 or 16 for 16 from the free throw line against Alabama. Like, that's all you needed to do. Just don't go up there and go 8 for 22 from the line and squeak out a win against Alabama A&M. It's if you play the game the right way, Indiana fans are going to appreciate that and get behind you. Now, are there things that you don't like about this team? Are you kind of concerned? Yes. Foul issues, especially with the guys who are out, is a problem. Now, I didn't actually see the game, but listening to Don and Eric, there were a lot of fouls, and there were some phantom fouls. But to me, it goes back to when we talked to DeVries in, I think, September. Said he let a lot of things go in practice on defense without blowing the whistle. And I'm wondering, I'm not going to say it's a mistake because you want your guys to be aggressive, but maybe there's an adjustment period to actually having an official And look, we all have our
Yeah.
thoughts about Big Ten officials that aren't the back judge in the IU football Penn State game. That they're
That guy's
inconsistent.
awesome. He should ref everything. Yeah.
They should clone him and make him every
Yeah.
position in every sport and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But it seems in every Big Ten basketball game, the criteria for a foul changes. And I
Right.
think
Right.
there is an adjustment period of going from, oh, hey, we're going to let a lot of stuff go in practice to here we go with the ref. And maybe that's why you have guys have a ton of fouls. And then, you had the exhibition against Baylor too, where you had two guys foul out. But that to me it's a little bit of a concern, but it's
Yep.
also maybe they adjust. You got 3 or 4 games now before Kansas State to get used to the referee. Now it's the Big Ten, and it could change every game. So I don't know how
Sure.
used you could get to it, but you could get used to getting called for fouls. But it's
Yeah.
not for a lack of effort. Some guys are a little slow moving their feet, but when others come back, you're sitting there. I'm driving back from Penn State, and you're like, okay, I use up by 15, but are they going to have enough players to finish with 5 guys on the court at the end of the game? And that was my biggest concern, but I don't think it's a season-long concern just yet, unless guys don't come back from injury.
Yeah. So I think that right now, just going off of the 2 games that we've seen, I think you feel really good about 6 players. Sam Alexis being number 6, Trent Sisley probably edging toward that. You feel really good about 7. Now, I do want to point out Trent Sisley did play against Alabama A&M. He did play against Baylor. Didn't do much. So I think it's important that people remember some inconsistency from the freshman is to be expected and is going to occur. That's going to happen. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're being critical of Trent Sisley or that he's not going to be awesome and that he's already not one of, our favorite players to watch. What it does mean is that he is a freshman that is going to take some time to get used to night in and night out what's required in order to be successful in high major basketball. He was great in the second half when called upon to help put that game completely out of reach. Really good from him. Really good from Sam Alexis off the bench as well. Josiah Miles plays very hard, athletic, and I think a active and quicker defender than what Indiana has with Enright or Connerway on the perimeter.
Yeah, that's where I think Nick Dorn coming back really helps because you move Enright. Enright was never brought in to be the starting guard. It was Dorn. Enright comes off the bench, gives you some because he plays hard. He's an energizer bunny off the bench who, you would hate to play against him and you love him on his team, but he might drive people. Yeah, maybe.
So that's going to be my point is you feel good about, let's call it 7. You feel good about 7 players. You'd like to add another couple to that. So for me,
you have guys
that's Nick Dorn. That's Nick Dorn, and that's, you hope, a Josh Harris. If he can get back in the rotation, the issue you have is that those guys, Harris, Drake, and Dorn, they've missed so much time that it is going to take some games for them to ramp back up when they do get cleared to come back. It looks like Dorn is the closest, and you probably have the highest expectations for him as he returns. But so I do think that the progression of Josiah Miles as an offensive contributor, not a go-to guy, but a contributor you can rely on for extended minutes. If you can get that plus Dorn, that elevates you up to 9 guys. And that is a good number to have. So I think that's there. You're looking for better defense
Just have
with your feet
have
and
people
less with your
have
hands.
people have people on offense that they have to guard. So that was the
Yeah,
problem last year,
yeah,
was that you were basically playing 4-on-5 on offense when Anthony Leal was in the game. Nobody guarded Anthony Leal, but now,
right.
Connor Enright is not going to play for the rest. If Nick Dorn comes back, he's not going to play 23 minutes a game. But if you could get him if you could get him 15 minutes and you have to stick a guy on him or stick a guy on Josiah Miles, then you could, this offense is good enough to go get, hey, we need Tucker to get a shot. Let's get Tucker a shot. We need Wilkerson to get a shot. He'll get a shot. And if they double him, they're good enough passers to go find Sam Alexis in the lane or, Trent Sisley and things like that. So it's all about, to me, is can you get guys who are trustworthy on offense to where you're not playing essentially down a man, and give it enough depth. So those three guys, if they come back, you're not going to get through the Big Ten season with 7 guys. It's just you're going to get beat up, guys get hurt, or banged up and become less effective. But if you could get those guys back and you have some runway, and we'll talk about the upcoming schedule here in a minute, TJ, but you have some runway where if you can bring guys back at a little bit of a time with Milwaukee on Wednesday night, Incarnate Word on Sunday, Lindenwood next Thursday.
Yep.
And you have a decent one against Kansas State before, you get Bethune-Cookman before going to Minnesota on December 3rd. I think Coach DeVries said he expected some guys back in December, whether that's December 3rd or December 23rd. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe you start slowly bringing these guys back and working them into minutes in some of these bye games, and that's what they're there for. Not only kind of resume padding, and schedule filling, but to get Nick Dorn up to speed, to get a Josh Harris up to speed, and get them that in-game cardio that you don't really get anywhere else. So,
Yep.
TJ, Milwaukee IU this week, and you'll have your candy stripe scoop coming out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Indiana has 2 games. Milwaukee coming up on Wednesday night. That game's on FS1. Incarnate Word on Sunday evening at 5:30 on BTN. Take us through what you expect out of Milwaukee.
Okay, so for comparison or context purposes, yes, this is a bye game. Not all bye games are created equal. Alabama A&M in KenPom, you're talking a bottom 25 team in the country. They're down there in the 330s. It is a step up in competition for Milwaukee and Incarnate Word. Milwaukee currently 1-1, 235th in KenPom. So they're not good, but they are better than Alabama A&M at the Horizon League. And just if you're not familiar with that league, Oakland is a member of the Horizon League, roughly about 50 spots higher in KenPom. They gave Purdue all that they wanted in Purdue's opener. That game was tied at 35, and Purdue won by 10. Milwaukee not expected to be quite the level that Oakland is, but still, they're a better team by a pretty significant margin than Alabama A&M. So it's going to be a little bit of a bigger test. Incarnate Word is actually top 200. They're hovering right around. I think KenPom has them 212 now. Torvik a little higher on Incarnate Word, but that is a team out of the Southland Conference, which regularly has at least a couple of teams that are pretty capable and usually end up 14 seeds in the NCAA tournament. So it's a better league than the SWAC and usually a better league than the Horizon. So Incarnate Word, right about Milwaukee's level, but maybe, again, a slight step up in competition there. They will be better tests than Alabama A&M was, but still, if Indiana plays with attention to detail and with effort and intensity, and comes out with the same attack plan that they had in the first two games, they'll be fine. Excuse me. Certainly an option or an opportunity for Indiana, I think, to hopefully get Nick Dorn some minutes. And I think that you would love to see. I think you'd love to see Tatum Connerway have some success, and then Josiah Miles, you would like to see gain some confidence on the offensive end. Beyond just the, hey, go out there, win convincingly. Those are sort of the things that I would look for as kind of secondary goals. Continue to do what you're doing, continue to build those habits, particularly on defense, of figuring out how can we be aggressive without fouling? How can we create disruption by using our feet to get into position instead of reaching with our hands? How can we do those things while still attacking the way that we want to? And then on offense, you're just continuing to try to build confidence in your ability to put up points at a high clip, and trying to find different ways to do it beyond just Tucker and Lamar Wilkerson going in fuego, right? So that's what you're looking for. I will have the Candy Stripe scoop up Wednesday morning. That'll have more information on both of IU's opponents this week for week 2. And the why it matters part, you're just trying to continue to build that ground base of good, efficient metrics. Indiana's climbed over 20 spots so far this young season. You can climb a little bit higher this week with 2 really good, solid performances, meeting those expectation levels instead of just squeaking by. And then obviously, primary goal is just avoid a massive letdown, right?
Yeah.
I think you said it. If Indiana is able to build this momentum throughout the rest of November, you're going to have this fan base behind you. It's not going to take long for there to be buy-in with the way that this team has played so far. You keep something that looks like that up, there's going to be buy-in on it real quick.
Yeah.
And that's
if you're playing fundamentally well, hitting free throws, playing great on offense, playing fundamentally sound defense, and excuse me, and winning games, and you circle that Louisville game in at December 6th, where it could be an all-time day for IU sports. Sure. You're going to have people who are fired up, who want to go to the basketball game, and see if they could beat Louisville, and then be fired up to see if they could go and beat whoever Indiana may play in the Big Ten championship game. But we'll see what the crowd looks like on was it November 23rd or 25th against Kansas State? What's a power night, opponent?
8:00.
Yeah, power opponent, Tuesday night, 8:00. Yeah, hopefully, I think students are still on campus. We'll see. It's the Thanksgiving.
That's the last day, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe if Indiana's undefeated, you're playing well, and you're kind of right now they're 28th in the top 25.
Yeah, they'll be ranked. They'll be ranked if they keep winning. I think they'll be ranked either by that game or heading into December. If they keep winning, they'll be ranked. I mean,
so you're going to have some buzz. We'll see if students stick around for that game, and see what the atmosphere is like at Assembly Hall. But it was clear that fans took a slow dunked the toe in the pool to see the temperature, enjoyed what they saw. And it's fun to be an Indiana basketball fan again. But anyway, TJ, that does it for today's podcast on basketball. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about Indiana's win over Penn State and preview Indiana's next game against Wisconsin, the final home regular season game of the season. It has flown by. So be sure to join us. We'll post basketball podcast tonight. We'll post football tomorrow. Lots of good stuff. I think Tucker DeVries was just named co-player of the week of the Big Ten, along with and then on the women's side, Shade Chesky, who absolutely went off at 7 to 10 from 3 against UIC, won it on the women's side. Man, tickle in the throat stinks. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Come back to HoosierHuddle.com. We'll have game threads for all the Indiana men's basketball and football games. It's fun. It was a fun roller coaster ride on Saturday. Some people wanted to jump off the barn. Some people's Apple Watches were yelling at them that your heart rate was a little high. My phone said it was time for meditation. So come join us. It's a fun group, fun community, and things like that. So check us out, HoosierHuddle.com. Follow us on X at Hoosier_Huddle. And we'll be back talking Indiana football tomorrow.